There is a rhythm beneath all things, every breath, every heartbeat, every wave, the pulse of the universe itself. Jerry Grotowski once said, "A man in an elevated spiritual state begins to dance or sing. Self-penetration demands the mobilization of all physical and spiritual forces." That's enlightenment. Not an idea, not a philosophy, but a rhythm, a movement, the body remembering the music of the cosmos. To understand something truly, you can't describe it, you have to feel it. Language, it tries so hard, but words live in opposites. Light and dark, silence and sound, love and hate. The universe has no opposite, so how could it ever fit into a sentence? Meaning isn't written, it's experienced. A map is not the mountain, and no matter how many words we invent for truth, you'll never taste it until you climb. Enlightenment isn't found in talking about the universe, it's the universe talking through you. Music knows this. You can't explain music, you can only surrender to it. You can dissect its tempo, measure its key, but the meaning isn't there. It's in the goosebumps, it's in the tears, it's in the silence between the notes. Bruce Lee said it best, it's like a finger pointing to the moon. Don't concentrate on the finger or you'll miss all the heavenly glory. Language is the finger, experience is the moon, and when we say, "I was lost in the music," what we really mean is the self vanished, the I disappeared, only the music remained. That's enlightenment, that's the dance of the universe. Dance is not a metaphor, it's existence itself. Movement without motive, chaos and creation intertwined. Michael Meade said, "Dance is a metaphor for being alive in life. We're all supposed to be dancing." Hindu mythology calls it Shiva's cosmic dance, creation and destruction forever entwined. Richard Stromer said, "The opposites can never be reconciled, they are the paradox." And maybe that's what enlightenment really is, learning to dance in a paradox. Then comes the flow. Senna felt it on the racetrack, 2 seconds faster than physics should allow. He said, "I realized I was no longer driving the car consciously. I was in a different dimension." Wayne Gardner said the same. "I saw myself from above, as if someone else was doing it." When we are fully here, the me disappears. It's not personal free will, it's transpersonal free will, the universe steering through us. Rickson Grayson called it the neutral point. He said, "You must go beyond knowledge." And a composer once whispered, "The music just flows. My hand is devoid of myself." Mihai Csikszentmihalyi called it flow state. Even a tree knows it. The oak doesn't try to grow, it just grows. No striving, no guilt, just being. That's perfection, because it doesn't know it's perfect. Flow isn't escaping life, it's becoming it. The dancer is the dance, the river is the flow, the universe is the act of creation. And the truth? We don't need to find it, we are it. People ask, where do we go when we die? But that's like asking, where does my fist go when I open my hand? It doesn't go anywhere. It was never separate, it was always the hand. The universe opens, the form changes, but the essence remains. We mourn the fist, but the hand never died. We are the hand, we are the universe, forming and unforming itself. As Eckhart Tolle said, die before you die, and what remains is the divine presence that you are. Nothing real ever dies, only names, forms, and stories. Even love isn't something we do. It's what remains when separation disappears. When two people meet without ego, sex becomes worship. Not me loving you, but love loving itself. Ego makes it performance. Presence makes it communion. The body becomes a prayer, the breath becomes devotion, and in that silence, two become none. Ever wondered why we love the ocean? Because it reminds us what we are, boundless, flowing, eternal. We stand before it, and for a moment we stop thinking. We stop narrating. We just are. The Tao says, the Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. Wim Hof calls it survival through surrender. He said, in the cold, you shut up. The confusion dies, and then you survive. That's enlightenment. Shutting up enough to hear the rhythm again. Meditation isn't about trying, because trying is the ego flexing. True meditation is surrender. Sit, breathe, exist. Fail beautifully. Fail until there is no one left to fail. Then something happens. Not an achievement, a revelation. You were never broken to begin with. And in that moment, love blooms again. Not the conditional love that says, I love you if. No. The kind that just is. A mother's love. A universe's love. The love of everything for itself. Because once you see the illusion of separation, you stop asking who deserves love and start realizing there's no one left to exclude. Love is what remains when the I dissolves. Have you ever wondered why we suffer? If everything's connected, if we're all threads in the same cosmic fabric, why would the universe weave pain into its own skin? Imagine this. Every night you dream, and in that dream, you're God. You control everything, every kiss, every sunrise, every miracle. At first, it's bliss, a paradise of your own making, no pain, no fear, just perfection on repeat. But after a while, you'd get bored, wouldn't you? You'd crave surprise, you'd introduce risk, danger, heartbreak, because without the unknown, there's no growth, no thrill, no life. And after millions of dreams, you'd make the ultimate one. This one. This life. Right here. With all its pain and beauty intertwined. That's why we suffer. Not because the universe is cruel, but because creation needs contrast to feel alive. Look closer at your own body. A war zone and a miracle at once. In a single heartbeat, 1 million red blood cells are born and die. A microscopic battlefield raging beneath your skin. And yet, from above, you are harmony. Bill Bryson said, in the second you started reading this sentence, your body made 1 million red blood cells. Chaos close up, perfection from afar. And maybe suffering works in the same way. Close up, it's agony. From the universe's view, it's rhythm, it's balance. When we fight the flow, we suffer. When we surrender, suffering transforms. We stop being victims of chaos and become participants in creation. There's an old story, a wise man, his son, and a horse. The horse runs away. The villagers cry, "What bad luck?" The wise man says, "Maybe." The horse returns with a herd. "What good luck?" "Maybe." The son breaks his leg taming one. "How terrible." "Maybe." The war comes, and the boy is spared because of his broken leg. "What good luck?" "Maybe." That's the truth of it. We see fragments and call them destiny. But the universe never stops unfolding. Good and bad are just words we scribble on events we don't yet understand. The ego hates this story, because the ego wants control, it wants a happy ending, it wants justice, revenge, closure. But the wise man knows. Reality doesn't play favourites, it flows. To resist that flow is to drown in your own narrative. To accept it is to float. And that's the beginning of peace. Every future we imagine is just a dream we've fallen for. When one dies, a part of us dies too. That's grief. But grief isn't punishment, it's rebirth. A doorway between illusions. Shakespeare knew it. There's nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Buddha knew it too. With our minds, we make the world. And still, we build our tiny kingdoms of thought, our tribes, our stories, our flags. We cling to them like lifeboats, but what happens when two tribes dream different dreams? War. Always war. We think we fight for truth, but really we fight for our story's survival. Robert Anton Wilson called it reality tunnels. He said, there's no vantage point from which real reality can be seen. And yet, we insist that ours is the right one. That our God, our flag, our version of good is more real than another's. That's how prejudice is born, how nations burn, how love dies. Because ego can't coexist with difference, it has to conquer it. But enlightenment doesn't pick sides. It doesn't say, your story's wrong, it says all stories are just masks. Like the wise man said, maybe. True compassion is seeing through the stories without needing to destroy them. Tolerance isn't built on ideology, it's built on understanding. Because when you know the universe is one, you stop trying to win, you start listening. Every act of cruelty, every war, every lie told in the name of truth comes from fear. Fear of losing the story, fear of the death of me. But when you wake up, you realise there is no me to protect. You stop fighting, you start creating. That's the only morality that matters. Not rules, not commandments, but presence. A love that holds even when it doesn't understand. So maybe the universe isn't testing us, maybe it's playing, dreaming, learning to love itself through every joy and every wound. And in that dream, we are both the master and the student, both the creator and the created. Maybe the universe suffers because it wants to remember what compassion feels like. And maybe that's all any of us are doing, remembering. There are places in the world where the walls between the self and the universe thin, where breath becomes wind. The heartbeat becomes thunder. For me, that place was the jungle, the vine, ayahuasca. They call it the vine of death, but it's not death as punishment, it's death as medicine, a dying of the story so the soul can breathe again. Wade Davis said taking DMT was like being shot through a rifle barrel lined with Baroque paintings and landing on a sea of electricity. He said, "There's no one home anymore." And I knew what he meant, because when I drank, I watched me dissolve, my name, my body, my past, all melted into the rainforest. I saw through the eyes of the trees, I felt the earth growing inside me, and I screamed, "I don't want to die." But the universe told me, "You're not dying, you're remembering." When I stopped fighting, there was no observer, no thinker to think I, only this vast, breathing awareness, without edge or centre. And when I came back, I cried with gratitude, not because I had survived, but because I'd seen that death was just another word for transformation. Stanislav Grof called it ego death. He said the boundaries between self and the universe dissolve, and what's left is unity. That's not a hallucination. This is the hallucination, the fragmented world, the me and you illusion. That's the dream. Ayahuasca wakes you from it. Science is catching up. The more the self dissolves, the more the healing happens. Depression fades, addiction loosens, life stops being a prison and starts being a river again. We're so attached to our stories. I'm depressed, I'm broken, I'm a smoker. But under the medicine, those sentences lose their subjects. There's no I, only being. And being is infinite. That's the medicine. It doesn't give you visions to entertain you, it gives you death to heal you. Ego stories form before words. That's why therapy sometimes misses them. But the vine speaks the language of the body, the soul. It rewrites you in silence. And you realise, you're not discovering something new. You're remembering what you always were, life and death. Not opposites, self and universe, not separate. It's only one continuous breath. Jill Bolte Taylor, the neuroscientist, felt it too. When her left brain went silent during a stroke. No words, no categories, no past or future, just infinite presence. She said she felt as vast as the universe, a genie freed from her bottle. That's enlightenment. It can happen in a lab, in a rainforest, during a stroke, or in a single breath. The psychedelics, the meditation, the flow, the dreams, they all lead to the same door. And the key isn't faith or science or language. It's surrender. It's letting the I fall away so the universe can see itself again. Because when you finally wake up, you don't become enlightened. You remember you always were. You know, enlightenment has a punchline. That's the best kept secret in the universe. Alan Watts once said, the experience you call ordinary everyday consciousness, pretending you're not it, that experience is exactly the same thing as it. And when you find that out, you laugh yourself silly. Because tragedy, the grand aching, operatic misery of existence, it flips into comedy the second you realise the drama was self-authored. Eckhart Tolle said it best. Tragedy turns into comedy when you watch your own drama and realise it's a mind-created fiction. And that's the thing. Laughter is entertainment in disguise. It's the body's way of saying, I see now, it was all a game. True spontaneous laughter breaks walls. That's the trickster's laughter, the divine giggle that says, reality isn't what you think it is. Lewis Hyde said, the trickster violates the natural order, disrupts life, and then rebuilds it on a new basis. He's the joker, the creator and destroyer, the holy fool who knows no good or evil, but births them both in the same breath. When we laugh at the absurd, we aren't mocking reality. We are freeing ourselves from it. Laughter is the universe winking at itself. You know, the split second before a punchline, when your brain expects one thing and then reality flips. That's the exact moment enlightenment happens. Expectation shattered. Your mind collapses for a split second. That's the gap between illusion and truth. The ego's little theatre short circuits and we see through the act. Reggie Watts calls it beautiful misdirection. Judd Apatow says comedy flips truth on its head. And they're right, because the trickster's job isn't to offend, it's to awaken. That's the power of the joke. It's philosophy disguised as laughter. Peter Martinson called it a cognitive impasse. When your reality momentarily stops making sense, you laugh, because it's either that or panic. The trickster laughs with the chaos. The tyrant fears it. That's why dictators ban comedians, because nothing topples power faster than the sound of people laughing at it. All humour is underwritten by our mutual awareness that the reality we are living in is not the reality. That's it. That's the divine comedy. We all secretly know this is a dream, but only the trickster has the guts to say it out loud. Bill Hicks said in his act, and today a young man on acid discovered that all matter is energy condensed to a slow vibration, that there's no such thing as death, and that we are all consciousness experiencing itself subjectively. Now over to Tom with the weather. He was a prophet of laughter. He looked at the universe dead in the eye and said, I get it. It's all a big cosmic joke. And that's the revelation, isn't it? The moment you stop taking yourself seriously, you stop suffering. You stop defending illusions. You stop pretending you're not the universe in disguise. The trickster saves us from ourselves, not through wisdom, but through laughter. Because when you finally see the truth, you don't cry, you laugh. And you laugh until you disappear. Every time the mind dissolves, the universe learns a little bit more about itself. Maybe we've never been blind to the cosmos. Maybe we've been blind to ourselves. When we drink the vine, laugh, meditate, or reach flow state, we see what's already here. That matter and consciousness are one fabric, folded over itself like waves in a single ocean. We are not the observers, we are the observation. Feynman wrote, out of the cradle, onto dry land. Here it is, standing. Atoms with consciousness, matter with curiosity. Alan Watts added, if you awaken from this illusion, you can feel yourself not as a stranger in this world, but as the fabric of existence itself. And here we are, the universe, reading itself out loud, a dream becoming lucid. There's no need to try and be anything else. Just breathe, because you are it. You always were, and you always will be.